What feels unsettling at first is often just the weight of sudden importance settling into someone's life. Lately, the silence around you has carried a different meaning, almost as if conversations stop the second you enter the room, and certain faces study you more carefully than before. It is not because you have done something terrible, but because your growth, your presence, and the influence you quietly carry have started drawing attention from places you never expected. People notice shifts long before they speak about them openly, and sometimes the smallest changes in routine can make others curious about who you are becoming. That curiosity creates distance, hesitation, and strange moments that leave you questioning your own instincts. You may have sensed it already in delayed replies, altered behavior, or the uncomfortable feeling that something important was unfolding just outside your view. Yet the deeper truth is far less frightening than your imagination has made it. Those who observe power always study the individuals connected to it, especially the ones who rise quietly without demanding recognition. Behind closed doors, people analyze patterns, conversations, timing, and decisions, because they are trying to understand influence before it fully reveals itself. The reason this feels so intense is because the shift began long before you noticed it. Even during ordinary moments, your name was entering discussions you knew nothing about. The attention surrounding you is not proof of wrongdoing. It is evidence that your presence now carries weight. In many situations, people are not examined because they are failing. They are examined because others believe they could become deeply significant. And significance has a way of making the world look much more closely than before. What they are looking for is not a mistake, not a scandal, and not a confession, but influence, alignment, and potential. Because top legal teams do not waste time on ordinary paths. They follow trajectories. And your trajectory recently changed in a way that caught their attention, whether through a decision you made, a refusal you didn't explain, a silence that protected someone, or a truth you chose not to expose. And now that choice echoes louder than words, creating a trail that leads back to you. And this is where the tension sharpens, because investigations like this are rarely about the past alone. They are about what could happen next if someone like you is left unchecked. You may feel a strange mix of pressure and calm right now. An instinct telling you to stay alert without knowing why. Because your intuition senses what your mind has not yet confirmed. That you are being observed not with hostility, but with calculation. As if someone is asking, who are they really? And what are they capable of when tested? And this is the moment most people miss the sign. Because they assume danger always arrives loudly, when in reality, it often arrives quietly, wrapped in politeness, patience, and professionalism. And the unsettling part is that once such attention begins, it does not simply disappear, it evolves. Understand this clearly, my beloved child. You are not powerless in this moment, but you are at a crossroads, because how you carry yourself now, how you respond to silence, how you handle pressure without reacting, and how you protect your integrity will shape the outcome of something that has not yet revealed its full face. And while you may not see the entire picture today, know that this chapter is not random. It is a test of awareness, composure, and self-trust. And what happens next will depend not on what they find, but on how you rise while being watched. Because the ones who survive scrutiny are never the loudest, they are the most centered. My beloved child, something shifted the moment your name crossed a threshold it was never supposed to touch. And what makes this moment intense is not the investigation itself, but the silence surrounding it. Because when powerful minds move quietly, they do so with intention, mapping possibilities rather than rushing conclusions. And right now, you exist in a space where every past decision is being reinterpreted through a sharper lens, not to trap you, but to measure you, to understand whether you bend under pressure or remain steady when the air grows heavy. And this is why your life may feel unusually still, as if the world has paused just long enough for something unseen to step closer. Pay attention to the subtle signs, not the dramatic ones. Because real scrutiny rarely announces itself. It studies patterns instead. How you respond when ignored. How you carry yourself when recognition is delayed. How you behave when no one appears to be watching. And this is where most people fail without realizing it. Because they assume attention fades when noise dies down. When in truth, silence is often the loudest phase of observation. And during this phase, your patience, restraint, and clarity are being noted far more carefully than any words you could speak. What they are really examining is not whether you are right or wrong, but whether you are stable, grounded, and predictable under uncertainty. Because unpredictable people create risk, and risk attracts intervention, while centered people create confidence, and confidence forces respect. And this is the hidden truth most never learn. That investigations are not always designed to accuse. Some are designed to decide whether someone should be resisted, controlled, or eventually trusted. And the unsettling beauty of this moment is that you are being weighed not against others, but against your own consistency. You may notice old connections resurfacing unexpectedly, conversations reopening without explanation, or people asking questions that seem harmless but feel slightly misplaced. And this is no coincidence, because when a legal team evaluates influence, they assess networks, history, and emotional intelligence. They observe who you protect, who protects you, and who grows uncomfortable when your name is mentioned. And the reason this phase feels confusing is because the real test is internal. Can you remain composed when clarity is delayed? Can you resist the urge to over-explain? And can you trust your instincts without acting on fear? There comes a season in life when every movement feels watched, every silence feels measured, and every choice seems to carry a weight no one fully explains. Yet moments like these are not always warnings of collapse. Often, they are signs that something meaningful is approaching. People rarely study what holds no value. The closer someone moves toward transformation, the more carefully the world seems to observe how they carry pressure, uncertainty, and delay. What matters now is not proving yourself to every voice around you, but protecting the calm center within you. The way you respond during uncertain seasons quietly determines what doors remain open when clarity finally arrives. Those who survive difficult periods with their character intact are often the ones who step into the future without regret attached to their name. There is also another truth many never realize until much later. After people observe you, they begin creating stories about you in their minds. They interpret your pauses, your distance, your restraint, and even the things you never explained. In these moments, silence can become more powerful than endless defense. Not every misunderstanding deserves your energy, and not every accusation deserves your reaction. Sometimes the strongest response is remaining grounded, while others rush to conclusions. Pressure has a strange way of testing emotional balance. It creates the urge to over-explain, to chase validation, or to convince people to see your intentions clearly. But inner peace begins the moment you stop forcing understanding onto those committed to misunderstanding you. Stay patient with the process unfolding around you. The people who maintain dignity under silent pressure are often the same people who emerge stronger, wiser, and untouched by the noise that once surrounded them. Just to relieve temporary discomfort, because those who truly hold power never rush clarity, they allow it to arrive when it can no longer be distorted. What makes this moment unusually intense is that someone involved in this evaluation has already noticed something rare about you. Not your background, not your status, but your capacity to remain internally calm while external circumstances feel unresolved. And this is precisely why the lens has not moved away. Because calm under uncertainty is not common. It is cultivated, and cultivated qualities raise important questions, such as, where did it come from? What shaped it? And how far does it extend? And once such questions begin circulating, attention deepens rather than fades. You might feel isolated in subtle ways now, not abandoned, but separated, as if conversations no longer reach the same depth, as if familiar energy has slightly shifted. And this is not punishment, it is distance being created so your responses can be observed without interference. Because isolation reveals authenticity, and authenticity is the clearest signal investigators look for, since rehearsed behavior collapses when there is no audience, and only what is real remains steady. And this is where your quiet strength is being silently recorded. Hold this truth close, my beloved child. Nothing about this phase is accidental, and nothing requires you to act differently than you already are, because the outcome forming ahead is not dependent on proving yourself, but on remaining yourself. And while others might mistake stillness for vulnerability, those watching understand it as control. And when the moment finally arrives for clarity to surface, it will not arrive as confrontation, but as recognition. Because the ones who pass through scrutiny without surrendering their center are never diminished by the process, they are defined by it. My beloved child, this is the phase where quiet decisions are being finalized, without you ever being summoned, because once observation and interpretation are complete, those watching begin to imagine outcomes, and what they imagine now is not centered on fear or fault, but on impact, because influence that cannot be easily shaken becomes a variable that must be accounted for, and the intensity you may feel is not pressure being applied to you, but pressure being adjusted around you, reshaping the environment to see whether you naturally rise, adapt, or withdraw when the structure subtly changes. You may sense that certain paths are closing while others silently open. Opportunities appearing without explanation while distractions fall away on their own. And this is not coincidence, because when evaluations reach this stage, the world around the subject begins to reorganize, not forcefully, but strategically, allowing the truth of their nature to surface without interference. And what is being noted now is not how loudly you react to change, but how gracefully you move through it without needing reassurance or validation. There is a powerful realization forming among those observing you, that you are not driven by impulse, nor swayed by external pressure. And this realization shifts the tone completely, because controlled individuals cannot be easily manipulated, and cannot be easily cornered. And that is when respect quietly replaces scrutiny, and caution replaces suspicion. And this transition often feels like a strange calm before clarity, where nothing dramatic happens, yet everything meaningful is decided beneath the surface. At this point, any attempt to chase certainty would only weaken your position, because certainty, earned too quickly, is often incomplete, and those who truly understand power allow answers to arrive on their own timeline. And this is why remaining grounded now is more important than ever, because composure, in the absence of confirmation, signals confidence, and confidence signals authority, and authority shifts how outcomes are shaped without a single word being exchanged. Remember this deeply, my beloved child. When attention turns into recalibration rather than confrontation, it means you have already crossed the most difficult threshold, and what lies ahead is not exposure, but definition, because those who endure examination without abandoning their core do not walk away unchanged, they walk away recognized, and whatever unfolds next will not be something done to you, but something that aligns itself with who you have already proven yourself to be in silence. There comes a point in life when people stop trying to figure you out and quietly begin adjusting themselves around your presence. That shift is subtle, almost impossible to explain at first, yet deeply noticeable once it arrives. The energy surrounding you changes in a way that feels both calming and intense at the same time, as though one burden has finally disappeared while another, far more powerful force, begins to settle into place. What you are feeling now is not confusion, doubt, or hesitation anymore. It is the quiet formation of respect, happening behind the scenes without your effort or awareness. You may have already noticed how certain conflicts no longer carry the same weight, how unnecessary tension fades without confrontation, and how people who once kept their distance suddenly look at you differently. Their tone changes, their reactions soften, and their attention becomes more careful. This happens because true strength is never proven through loud reactions or endless explanations. It reveals itself through calmness under pressure, through grace in uncertain moments, and through the ability to remain steady while others expect you to break. That kind of composure leaves a lasting impression no argument could ever create. It silently tells the world that challenges cannot control you, uncertainty cannot shake your identity, and silence itself no longer holds fear over your spirit. Once people recognize that level of inner stability, their behavior naturally changes. They begin reconsidering how they approach you, how they speak to you, and even how they think about you when you are absent. Without saying a single word, you reshape the atmosphere around you simply by refusing to be moved by the chaos that once tested your peace. Behind the scenes, the narrative around you has changed, not dramatically, but decisively, because instead of being discussed as a variable, you are now being acknowledged as a constant. Someone whose presence alters dynamics simply by remaining steady. And this is the turning point where scrutiny gives way to strategy, where observation turns into accommodation. And this shift often feels anticlimactic on the surface, because nothing explodes outwardly, yet everything stabilizes inwardly. Locking your position into place, this is also the phase where restraint becomes your greatest advantage, because any sudden need to assert, explain, or seek confirmation would only disrupt the clarity that has already formed. And those who understand influence know that once a conclusion is reached quietly, it is rarely reversed loudly, which means your role now is not to react to the shift, but to allow it to complete itself without interference, trusting that what has aligned itself around you did so for a reason. Carry this truth with you, my beloved child. When silence turns into acceptance without announcement, it means you were never meant to be challenged openly, only understood deeply, and whatever unfolds from here will not feel like a victory or a warning, but like a natural continuation of who you already are. Because the ones who pass through investigation without losing their balance do not need protection. They become the standard others quietly adjust to. My beloved child, this is where the story settles into a truth few ever witness. The truth that once attention has reshaped itself around you, the real work is no longer external, it becomes internal. Because the final measure is not how others now respond to you, but how you respond to yourself when the tension fades, when the waiting ends, and when the silence no longer feels heavy. Because those who are truly tested are not tested in chaos, they are tested in calm, when there is nothing left to fight against except the temptation to doubt what you already survived. You may feel an unfamiliar stillness now. Not emptiness, but clarity, as if the noise that once surrounded your thoughts has quietly stepped back. And this is significant, because clarity only arrives when confusion has served its purpose. And what has been quietly acknowledged is that you do not fracture under scrutiny, you do not chase reassurance, and you do not lose direction when answers are delayed. And this realization settles deeply among those who once watched from afar, transforming distance into silent respect. At this stage, nothing needs to be proven anymore, because proof has already been observed over time, in consistency, restraint, and presence. And this is why there is no dramatic conclusion, no announcement, no confrontation, because the most powerful outcomes never arrive with noise. They arrive as shifts in how the world responds to you, how paths align without force, and how resistance dissolves without explanation, leaving behind a sense that something important has quietly resolved itself. What matters now is that you do not carry the weight of that attention forward with you, because it has already served its purpose, and those who emerge strongest are the ones who do not let past pressure define future identity, but instead, allow it to refine them without hardening them, understanding that awareness is not meant to create fear, but wisdom, and wisdom is what keeps you steady long after eyes have turned away. Remember this always, my beloved child. Being examined does not mean being threatened, and being noticed does not mean being endangered. Sometimes, it simply means you reached a level where your presence could no longer be ignored. And now that this chapter closes quietly, you move forward not marked by scrutiny, but shaped by it, grounded, centered, and prepared for what comes next. Because the ones who endure unseen trials are always the ones trusted with what follows, my beloved child. The final shift is not an ending but a handover, the moment when attention releases its grip and responsibility returns fully to you, not as a burden, but as a quiet authority that settles into your posture, your decisions, your pace. Because once scrutiny completes its cycle, what remains is trust earned without negotiation. And this is why you may feel a subtle confidence that does not seek approval, a calm that does not need explanation, as if something within you has locked into place, knowing that whatever once hovered over you has now stepped aside. What unfolds next will feel ordinary on the surface. Conversations resume, routines normalize. The world appears unchanged, yet beneath that familiarity lies a recalibration, because those who observed you have adjusted their expectations, their boundaries, and their calculations, and you will notice this not through words, but through ease, through doors that no longer resist, through moments that flow instead of stall, because when a presence is acknowledged as steady, the environment naturally organizes itself around it without friction. There comes a moment in life when growth no longer feels loud or dramatic, but steady, calm, and deeply rooted within. That is the space you are stepping into now. The storms that once demanded your energy no longer control your direction, because experience has quietly taught you the difference between reacting emotionally and responding with wisdom. What once felt heavy enough to break your spirit has instead refined your character, shaping a quieter kind of confidence that does not seek approval or attention from the world around it. True strength was never meant to be displayed through noise or constant defense. It reveals itself in the way a person remains composed, even when pressure rises around them. You have reached a place where silence no longer feels uncomfortable, where peace is chosen intentionally, instead of being searched for desperately, and that shift changes everything. Challenges may still appear, but they no longer shake your foundation the way they once did, because difficult seasons have already shown you what you are capable of surviving. There is power in carrying your lessons privately, without the need to explain every transformation to others, because the deepest changes are often the least visible. People will notice the difference in your presence, even if they cannot fully understand it, and that quiet influence speaks louder than force ever could. The version of you standing here today is not someone hardened by struggle, but someone strengthened through understanding, patience, and self-control. What once tested your limits has already completed its purpose, leaving behind a person who no longer needs constant trials to prove their resilience, because the evidence already exists in the calm certainty with which they now move through life, my beloved child. Now you step into a space that feels strangely quiet yet deeply empowered, because when attention withdraws completely, it leaves behind something rare, self-trust sharpened by experience. And this is the phase where you realize the investigation was never meant to define you, only to refine you, stripping away unnecessary reactions, borrowed fears, and imagined threats, until what remains is a version of you that no longer seeks certainty from outside sources, because certainty has settled within. You may notice that your decisions feel cleaner now, less cluttered by second-guessing, less influenced by invisible pressure, as if your inner voice has grown clearer while the noise around it faded. And this is not accidental, because people who pass through silent evaluation often emerge with heightened discernment, able to sense alignment before it fully reveals itself, and able to recognize distraction the moment it appears, which is why you may instinctively step away from things that once pulled at your attention without needing an explanation. There is also a subtle shift in how others perceive you, not through admiration or challenge, but through acceptance. Because acceptance is what follows recognition when there is nothing left to question. And this creates a powerful neutrality around you, a state where you are neither underestimated nor over-examined, simply acknowledged as someone who stands firmly in their own lane. And this neutrality is what grants freedom, because freedom is not the absence of limits, it is the absence of unnecessary interference. At this stage, your greatest strength is restraint paired with clarity, knowing when to act and when to remain still, knowing when to speak and when presence alone is enough. Because having endured unseen pressure, you now understand that not every moment requires response, and not every silence requires filling. And this understanding allows you to move through situations without friction, conserving energy for what truly matters. Hold this realization close, my beloved child. The world did not change around you by accident. It adjusted because you remained steady while it observed. And now that adjustment has completed itself, leaving you in a position where growth feels natural rather than forced. And whatever unfolds next will meet you at the level you have already proven yourself capable of sustaining, not through effort, but through balance. My beloved child, this is the stage where understanding matures into quiet command, where you no longer wonder why things unfolded the way they did, because the need to ask has dissolved, replaced by an unshakable awareness that everything aligned exactly when it needed to, and what once felt like scrutiny now feels like preparation, because preparation is what remains after pressure leaves, leaving behind a steadiness that does not rush forward yet never retreats. You may notice that situations now reveal themselves to you earlier than before. Intentions become clearer without being spoken, and choices feel less complicated even when circumstances appear complex. And this is the invisible reward of having been tested without panic, because clarity sharpens perception, and perception shortens reaction time, allowing you to move with precision rather than force, which is why outcomes around you may begin resolving faster, not because you push harder, but because you hesitate less. There comes a season in life when strength no longer needs to be loud to be recognized. The energy you carry now moves differently, steady, quiet, and deeply rooted in self-awareness. People may not always understand what has changed within you, yet they feel it in the way you speak, the way you remain calm under pressure, and the way you no longer chase validation from the outside world. That inner balance creates a kind of presence that naturally shifts every interaction around you. Situations that once drained your spirit no longer hold the same weight, because you have learned that peace is far more powerful than constant reaction. You are no longer fighting to prove yourself. Instead, you are learning how to stand firmly in who you have already become. The greatest challenge now is not the world around you, but the temptation to return to old patterns of doubt, overthinking, and emotional urgency. Yet deep inside, you already know how much you have grown. You have seen firsthand that clarity arrives through patience, and that wisdom often speaks in silence rather than noise. Every difficult moment you survived shaped this calmer version of yourself, the one that understands composure is not weakness, but quiet mastery. Keep trusting that understanding. The road ahead does not need to feel frightening anymore, because you are no longer walking through life as someone searching for direction. You are moving forward as someone who has already endured hidden battles and emerged stronger because of them. What once felt like endless tests will now begin to feel like opportunities to move with confidence, grace, and certainty. because life responds differently to those who have finally learned how to remain at peace within themselves.